Price increases for Spotify, YouTube, and Peacock. Oh my. This is MacVoices. Today's MacVoices is supported by Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Go to factormeals.com/MacVoices50 and use the code MacVoices50 to get 50% off. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. The MacVoices Live panel continues a highly opinionated discussion of video service pricing and delivery and how it's affecting their decisions on what to purchase, and why they may or may not agree with some of the tactics being used by the service providers. Let's go back and let the panel do the talking. Mike, I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you, because when you start thinking about it, it feels like cable TV. It feels like what they all did. They kept adding services and raising prices, services you didn't want, didn't need. ESPN, I'm looking at you with all your 45 variations that we have to pay for with virtually any package. And you are ESPN is the thing that drives the pricing up the most. In those
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised ESPN spins off and pulls their channels from cable TV, because Discovery and Max already announced that they're going to be pulling their channels off and just do a streaming-only service, because the cable TV business is in trouble. I mean, it's going down. I became a cord cutter. I just cut the cord from Comcast, so I'm seeing it. And I don't know if you're going to get into Peacock or not. That's a whole other story. But yeah, all these channels are starting to sever ties from cable companies.
Yeah, I mean, today.
Go ahead, Ben.
Today, Marquee Sports Network, the Chicago Cubs RSN, launched their direct-to-consumer product.
Yep.
So
$19.99 a month, you can buy it.
Yeah, so that should tell you what's happening with cable.
Yeah,
because RSN's used to anchor cable.
Are you able to buy that, Ben, in your market?
Oh yes, I already did.
Oh, I thought so. Good. Because those type of providers, it limits to where you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I get a little, if you're right, and if they do that, I just get a little afraid that they're going to try to force the same thing down everybody's throat. That, well, we want to be in every package you have, and therefore you're going to have to pay us for that package, and we're just going to be getting cable TV via streaming as opposed to having to fragment it out, and that
which is offered now. DirecTV offers that. I mean, if you lump satellite and cable together, DirecTV offers that. I think Comcast offers that too, if you just want streaming cable or streaming TV.
But I mean whatever the just what you were saying about the YouTube, that you don't want to pay for music.
Right.
Well, I really don't want to pay for sports. Or if I do, I want to pick, be able to pick the channels. I don't need ESPN 23 out of, that is showing
ESPN the Ocho.
Ice hockey in Malaysia. I don't care. I'm sorry. It just, I don't want to pay for
I'd watch that.
You would, yeah, I figured you would.
Why not? Maybe just once or twice, but I'd watch it.
Hey, I want to make sure I mention Tim in the chat room says, I use a Safari extension called Vinegar that gives me commercial-free YouTube.
Yeah.
So
that may not work too long, though.
Yeah.
And the content creators get no money when you do that. So that's, and I watch a lot of my YouTube on Apple TV.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, I watch almost all of mine on the Roku. Absolutely. Yeah, I barely watch it on the computer or the phone or tablet. It's almost always on the big TV. That's where I watch it.
I watch a lot on my iPad too, but not much on the computer. So with the Apple, with YouTube Premium, I get no ads on Apple TV.
Yeah. Jim, it sounds like you watch a lot of YouTube as opposed to any other source. Because you're constantly talking about YouTubers this and YouTubers that, and the ones you follow and the stuff you've seen. So it sounds like YouTube has largely replaced any other streaming service, or I'm not even sure it's a streaming service, but it's replaced a lot of your video entertainment and information. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know if
Accurate
I'd say
perception?
replaced, but I probably spend more time on YouTube than any other individual streaming service. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's a majority.
Mine's about 50-50. I'd say I watch about as much YouTube in any given evening as I watch regular TV.
Yeah, that might be true for me.
Yeah. I watch. There's a lot of great channels I watch on YouTube, and many of them, most of them are making. That's how they make their living, is through their channel. They've been doing it long enough and successfully enough, and built up a large enough audience that they can pay their mortgage and put food on the table and make a living doing it. And the quality of their channel goes up when that happens in almost every case.
Yeah, and as we've gone away from linear TV, I don't personally differentiate whether a show's on YouTube, Peacock, or what. It's just about the content.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I mean, YouTube tends to be more, it's not stories. So, YouTube, it's more like documentaries or, maybe that's not quite right either, but it's not scripted content. So, I go to, other channels like, Amazon Prime or Acorn, and I watch scripted shows. YouTube, a lot of times what I'll do is, maybe we'll watch a scripted show, and then it's like, okay, it's 10 o'clock at night. I don't want to start another hour-long show. So, let's watch 2 or 3 YouTube videos.
Web, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, just a couple things. First of all, we were talking about ESPN and being on the cable systems, and I'm still a cable subscriber. But ESPN sets the market. They set the price, and then everybody falls in line for what their carrier fees are going to be based on what ESPN does. But the other thing that just drives me nuts, my home service here is AT&T Uverse. There are others I know. Let's not debate what's good and what's bad, but they're in this battle royale with Nexstar, which is the largest owner of TV and radio stations in the United States of all networks. And Nexstar or AT&T Uverse, which is also DirecTV Stream, has taken all the Nexstar stations off. And I can't call it a specific network because it could be any of them, depending on what market you're in. But, those carrier disagreements just drive me nuts. And it's really just between the carrier and the service provider, the cable system, and the network. And it just... And us, the consumers, are really caught in the middle on this, and just those carrier agreements. I wish Congress, they want to do something for me. They should outlaw those carrier disruptions. I don't think that they're fair for the consumer. So,
yeah, like you said, disagreement. It is a disagreement. But Nexstar is really getting aggressive with that. They just for local in Chicago. I'm a YouTube TV subscriber now since I cut the cord, and they put WGN on YouTube TV, which I was pretty happy about.
Yeah.
Since I already threw the links in, I'll just mention, and anybody wants to comment, but Peacock raised their price, which seemed to be kind of a surprise to a lot of folks. Spotify raised their price as well, which
who cares?
Good for them. Mark had put something in that, in spite of having their best quarter ever, they still lost money. So that's just.
I do have a comment about Peacock, if that's okay.
Sure.
when you were a Comcast Xfinity subscriber, they gave that away for free, the premium version of it, to all Comcast subscribers. They just ended that about 2 months ago. So how ironic the timing! All of a sudden, they decide to raise the price for the standalone service that you now have to pay for. They did give a deal for those folks for like a year, so you get it for like $3, $4 a month, something like that. But it's going to go back up to their new current pricing. So,
yeah, I have to say, if they want to get more value out of Peacock, they should probably think about changing its name to something more recognizable, like Universal Plus.
Yeah.
or Peacock Plus.
Or X.
I like Peacock. I like their logo. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, it's the old school NBC logo.
Yeah, I think Peacock's a good name. I Universal. That's like. No, I disagree with that.
I had
the old school
Universal
NBC
to Comcast, and I don't like Comcast. So as long as I can keep Comcast out of my head, then I'm okay with it.
Well, but it's not Comcast anymore. It's Exfinity.
Xfinity.
It's Comcast Universal. That's really what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Xfinity is the cable product. NBC Universal is the TV product.
Right.
Yeah.
Comcast is the holding company.
Right.
We got the first year of Peacock for $20, and that was a special offer that they gave to us. I guess I had signed up for a trial or something, and when I didn't renew it, they said, "Well, we'll let you sign up for a year for $20." I said, "Okay, I'll pay that." Well, now we're up for renewal in September, and honestly, I didn't know what the regular price was. So I looked in my account today. It said renewal for $59.99. Okay, to me, that's $5 a month. All right, I can do that. That's fair because we do watch a good number of shows on Peacock and a good number of really good shows on Peacock, and I'd like to continue watching those for $5 a month. That's a deal to me. So
I subscribe to Peacock because it's the only way to watch the Tour de France, and then it turns out there's some other good shows on it. So that's just sort of a bonus.
We Are Lady Parts is a fantastic show. Premier League. If you watch soccer, Premier League is on Peacock, so that's a great way to watch that for
all the NBC
again
content.
$5 a month. It's a pretty good deal. I do, this does kind of tie into what Ben was saying earlier, though, about the cable industry circling the drain and people leaving it because these networks are pulling out. But I wonder if we aren't having the opposite effect happen at the same time. If we're getting to the point where for many consumers, enough is enough, they keep raising their prices and raising their prices and raising their prices. And that's what happened to cable and satellite. And now both of those services are bending over backward to win back the customers that they lost to streaming. And I wonder if cable and satellite aren't going to start looking enticing to those who actually look at their credit card statements. Those of us who don't, we're like, okay, whatever, Happy Valley. But, if you actually look at your credit card statement and see how much you're paying for these streaming services every month, you might say, you know what, maybe we dump a few of these, or maybe as a general consumer who just wants to watch TV, gosh darn it, maybe go back to what's easy and what worked. One cable coming into your TV, all the channels, boom. Done.
This edition of MacVoices is supported by Factor. Visit factormeals.com/MacVoices50 and use the code MacVoices50 to get 50% off. I'm not sure which is busier, the end of summer coming up or the impending fall season just around the corner. If you're like me, either way, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up faster with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. All three of those are a priority for me. That's why I've been enjoying Factor meals. With Factor, I can skip the extra trip to the grocery store and the chopping, prepping, and cleaning too, as much as I sometimes enjoy it, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality I want and need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. So all I have to do is heat and enjoy, then get back to crushing my goals, or at least trying. This August, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered right to your door. Head to factormeals.com/MacVoices50 and use the code MacVoices50 to get 50% off. That's code MacVoices50 at factormeals.com/MacVoices50 to get 50% off. Thanks to Factor for supporting MacVoices.
How are the cable companies bending over backwards to get your business back? I have not seen that.
I get a ton of mailings every month from DirecTV trying to win me back. And every mailing seems to drop the price just a little bit more. Whether it's the DirecTV streaming service or the satellite service, they really want my business back. Oh. And very often it's, a 1, 2, or even 3-year deal. And so if I can get all the TV that I want, and I'm not, let's not argue about what I want versus what you want or what have you, but if I can get the TV that I want for a decent price and pay less than I'm paying for all these, cord-cutting streaming channels, why not? Who cares how I get it? I get what I want. Now, I'm not saying that's me. I get a lot of TV. Chuck and I talked about this on my podcast. I get a lot of our TV off the antenna that comes into an HD home run connected to my Plex server. So, if I want to watch something local that doesn't happen to be on cable or satellite or streaming, I can very often catch it off the antenna. So there's lots of ways to get the TV. And, I just wonder if the general consumer, not the nerdy techie consumers like us, but the general consumer just wants simple. Turn on the TV, change to the channel I want, watch the show I want, boom, done. I'm happy with the price, on my way.
Mike, point. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say, when you mentioned, being able to just get your channels over the air, it's a great, simple way to be able to get that. One thing that I personally miss was a couple of different companies that have come and gone over the years that have offered the streaming version of your broadcast channels. And I think both of them, the ones that had come to mind, have gone bankrupt, and, they went through some court cases and things like that. Because I live in an area that I don't get broadcast channels unless I build a massive antenna outside my house.
Ooh, project.
At the moment, the wife's saying no, but maybe we'll win it over.
Yeah, the FAA might say no too.
Yeah, well, there are some neighbors, because of where I'm at. There are some neighbors who do have the the decent sized antenna that you could, but you got a powered antenna outside your home. That type of thing. But that's one of the reasons why I love Peacock. I saw the price increase too, and I looked at mine renews, I think around September as well. And $5 a month, I get Sunday Night Football. It's the only way I can get it right now without, go ahead and jumping in and subscribing to a cable or satellite service or, YouTube TV or something. So
I just keep being reminded of the way the music industry was and what Steve Jobs and iTunes did to remove the friction. Right now, there's so much friction with trying to get, what you want. And, I have the friction part bothers me. The idea that something is an Amazon Prime exclusive or a Netflix exclusive or whatever, that doesn't bother me a bit. That's the way that, and maybe it's because that's the way we all, I think pretty much here, with maybe Ben's exception, grew up. That NBC fought for their shows, ABC fought for theirs. A little bit later, the CW and Paramount networks fought for theirs. But it's this idea that, we have the intermediaries like Comcast back then, now all the streaming services trying to stick in there and sell us stuff we don't want. If you told me that I could pick a service and let's say $3 a month per channel and $5 a month per premium channel, whatever premium means, I would put together a package that suited me. They would lock me in for a long time. And I don't think that it would, I got to believe it would drive more business because right now I do have Comcast or Exfinity, whatever, for only one reason, and that is that where my home is located, there are a couple hills around me that just prevent me from doing over the air. So, but I subscribe to the very bottom level, the cheapest I can get, where, it's the major networks and then 3,000 shopping channels. And, because they throw that in. So, but I would happily give that up in a second if I could just pick probably 5 to 7 channels is all I would really need or pay any attention to. But
yeah, I mean, I understand why they don't do it, but I've never understood why they don't do it. The closest thing to that in streaming is probably Sling. No, they have that opportunity to start at one level and then add additional levels to it. And I know YouTube TV has add-ons and everybody has add-ons, but I think Sling is the one that's closest to what you're describing, even though it's not what you're describing. You start with this base and you can add on this one and this one, but you can't pick and choose individually. And that would be amazing. I would love that.
A la carte pricing is what that would be called. So yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
guys, we're running out of, we're over time, but I didn't want to cut the conversation off in mid conversation. So thank you all for hanging out and sharing all your wisdom. Let's go around the room, let everybody know where they can find you. So this time I'm going to flip it around and start with the man in red, Mr. Web Bixby. Web, thanks so much for being here. Where can folks connect with you?
Chuck, thank you. You can find me at Web Bixby on the X, and just about every other service that's out there. I just use the same basic handle, Web Bixby. So thank you, Chuck. Good to be here.
Thank you, Web. Yeah. Heard it on the X.
Are we doing ZZ Top now?
I was going to say, thank you, Ben. I was hoping somebody would get the reference. Good. Okay. Eric Bolden, our resident Zen master, where can folks find you?
You can find me at EA Bolden at techhub.social. Or, if you run into me at the garden, or whichever one I happen to be in.
Eric, it's great to have you. And I should have said that for Eric and Brian, it was the first time I got to meet you two in person. So, we've become good friends here, but it's always a strange experience when you're doing these virtual things to then walk into a physical place and see physical people. It's like, oh yeah, you're a real person. So,
and you're not in a little box.
Exactly. Jim Ray, I don't want to keep you any longer because I know you got to get back to YouTube. Where can folks connect with you?
Well, you can find me on the internet at provue.com, provue.com, and on Mastodon at provuejim at techhub.social. And also right now, you can find at Summerfest, Artisanal Software Festival is happening again. I think it's artisanalsoftwarefest.com. So my software and 20 other independent Mac software companies are having a sale for the next couple of weeks. I think it goes through August 8th. And then also I'm gonna plug Chuck because I'm pretty sure he's not gonna do it. I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it, but I'm sure it's great. He is on Mac Power Users with David Sparks this week.
I was. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, they made me say things that I usually don't say.
I can't wait to hear.
I'll leave it there. But Jim, I did want to give you something to think about before we leave. Elon Musk's Exfinity. Maybe there's a connection.
It's X. I
coincidence.
Maybe this is not old news to all of you, but I saw a post that mentioned this week something that I don't think I'd really realized, but the 4 Tesla cars in the order they released were S, 3, X, and Y. Write that down.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not the sequence. It went S, then X, then 3, then Y.
All right. Maybe they were announced in that order or something.
No, they tried to do that, and he wanted the E, except Mercedes wouldn't give up the E-Class car, so they wouldn't let Elon have the car the Model E, because Mercedes already had that model, had that name.
He doesn't get everything he wants.
Nope.
Brian Flanigan-Arthurs, it was great to meet you in person. It's great to have you here. Where can folks connect with you?
And likewise, yeah, definitely awesome to meet everyone and see everyone again and whatnot. Online, the best place to reach me is Mastodon at Brian8944 at mastodon.cloud.
Great. Thank you, Brian.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Mr. Roethig, the man in lilac. Where can folks connect with you?
Well, Chuck, on social media, including the artist formerly known as Twitter, you can find me at Ben Roethig. For my thoughts on the tech industry and maybe a little thoughts on the entertainment industry coming up, you can find me at Roethig.tech. On Thursday nights, you can find me on In Touch with iOS with some Dave Ginsburg guy. On Thursday, you can find me on the Mac Show, or the Big Show, hosted by the absent Jeff Gamet. And on Friday on the Mac Show, we also make Chuck say lots of things that he doesn't normally say.
Yeah, you do. That's probably accurate. Thank you, Ben. And now I want to give a special plug to Ben, though, because Ben was my guest on actually a MacVoices that got released today. And in that episode, I issued an apology to Ben and I'll issue the apology to you too. We had teased a discussion about an article he wrote pre-Dub-Dub. And we expected Dub-Dub to have just a few announcements. Well, we got this blitzkrieg of announcements, and we never got back to it. And so Ben and I had a great discussion about converging OSs for iPad and Mac. And if you were interested in that at all, definitely go and check it out, because Ben hit me with a couple thoughts that really set me back and have made me reevaluate my thinking. So thank you, Ben. It was some great points and a great discussion.
Yep. Come for the content, stay for my spiffy red suit.
Yeah. Gosh. Mr. Mike Potter, the man of the hour, day, week, weekend, I don't know what, but thank you so much for MacStock. Thank you for everything you do for the community. Where can folks find you now that the dust is clearing and you are regaining your voice?
I have slowly regained it. See, Chuck, you work miracles. Thank you very much. But you stole my thunder. I was going to thank you for always being so incredibly generous with MacVoices and promoting MacStock through the road to MacStock, and even, things like this, having me on tonight. You've been a champion of MacStock since the beginning, and I so very much appreciate it. Thank you. As far as where folks can find me, that would be formaceyesonly.com. That's at formaceyesonly at tooting.ninja on Mastodon, and macstockconferenceandexpo.com, which is at macstockexpo at tooting.ninja. Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Take care of yourself in that voice. Last but absolutely not least, the sunshine of my life, Mr. David Ginsburg, up in the corner there in the yellow shirt. Where can folks find you, David?
Although we did sit in on the sunshine last Friday when we recorded In Touch with iOS, so check out episode 263. We were all in person, sitting next to a lake, and had an awesome time doing that show, talking about the Mac. Midwest Barbecue pre-MacStock, so check that out. And speaking of that, intouchwithios.com is where you find the show, and the YouTube channel is youtube.com/intouchwithios, where I'm on Mastodon at DaveG65 and most social medias at that address, as well as In Touch with iOS. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices Live. We do this every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time that is, wherever you are. Please join us, youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. Set your calendars for next week. Now that I've figured out finally how to put links in the show in the chat, it may not be as big a deal for the folks in the chat room, but for after the fact, you can always find those, since we do publish these shows usually edited, vitally edited, and cut up into pieces on the regular Mac Voices feed, so you don't miss a thing. With that, I'm going to say thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.